What's up, boys? Got a kind of heavy subject today, as you can tell by the title of this video. There's a lot I could say about this topic. I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. Maybe I'll make a second video as a follow-up, because otherwise this might be like a 2-hour long fucking schizo rambling. So oh boy, I should have brought sunglasses. All right, let's just get right into it. I mean, like, dudes really out here gooning, bro. Like it's not good for society. It's not good for anybody. I'm gonna talk about men specifically in this video because, well, I am a man, first of all, but second of all, I think this problem affects men more than women. Obviously, there's female gooners, but, like, you know, for every one female gooner, there's like 1,000 male gooners, okay? So we're gonna focus on men in this video. And first of all, we are the product of evolution, okay? And which means our brains haven't changed that much since, you know, the last 150, 200,000 years. We're essentially still cavemen. Our DNA certainly would say so. So, you know, we didn't evolve to be able to see 50 million pairs of titties in one day if we want. You know, we're not wired to be able to see so many naked women or so many people having sex on a screen, okay? Back in the caveman times, you had sex and you would bust a nut real quick and you would just, like, hope to God that you could reproduce, because the next day a tiger could just walk into the cave and kill you and your whole tribe, okay? So that's what, at the very base level, sex is about. Now, I'm not saying sex shouldn't be a pleasurable experience, and it shouldn't be a, it shouldn't just be a thing about reproduction, obviously, but, you know, the pornography is a little much. I mean, even 100 years ago, or maybe not 100 years ago, but like 50, 60 years ago, you know, there were like playboys and hustlers and things like that. And yeah, okay, I guess that's pornography, but, you know, I don't think it was destroying people's brains the way the shit on the internet is today. I mean, it's apples and oranges. You know, testosterone levels are down. Men are not meeting women anymore, talking to women anymore. We're not having enough children to replace the previous generations. Like, the long-term consequences of gooning and of pornography addiction are starting to manifest. And, you know, I think that there's a case to be made about whether something should be done about it at a legal level. Some states in the United States have already implemented bans on sites like Pornhub, for example. I think Texas, I think like Tennessee, like the more red states definitely have put in like certain bans. I think that came into effect recently. Now, how do you enforce these bans? You don't. VPNs exist. There's a million ways to circumvent them. Obviously, you know, more needs to be done if we do want to actually enforce these regulations. But the fact that the conversation's already being had, and that some action is starting to be taken, and I just feel like more and more people are starting to talk about this more, and, you know, whether we should maybe have pilot projects in certain states or certain areas to actually regulate pornography, I think it's a step in the right direction. There's not enough long-term data to say whether this will work or not, or whether anyone will be able to enforce these regulations. You know, unless you have a completely, like, Chinese-style, you know, internet, like the Chinese firewall or whatever. I'm pretty sure they can watch porn there, but I don't think they can access Western sites. So, you know, anyway, my point is, there's ways to fucking do it, okay? But a lot of people don't even know whether we should or not, and I don't know yet, honestly. I have like an angel and a devil on my shoulders. The angel part of me is like, dudes are gooning and are addicted to pornography, and something needs to be done about it to to help ourselves, to protect ourselves, and to try to just make society a bit better place for men. But the devil on my shoulder says, well, why shouldn't people have the freedom to gook, essentially, right? Like, isn't that government overreach to decide whether people can watch porn or not? And I have these two perspectives fighting with each other right now to determine what's the correct answer. I think somewhere in the middle, an answer can be found. I don't know. Like, being able to watch people have sex or watch women, and thousands of different women, do whatever they want, it can't be good for the brain. I mean, we know it's not. If you watch too much porn and you become addicted to it, you continue to seek out more and more hardcore material to scratch that itch. It's like a drug addict, when you take like a little bit of drugs, you get really, really high the first, second, third time, but then as you build more of a tolerance to the shit, you need a higher dosage to feel anything. And it's the same thing with pornography. They've literally done research on the human brain to show that when you come to porn, you're getting the same, you're like activating the same reward centers in the brain as I think a cocaine addict or something along those lines, as a hard drug user is my point. And what's the end game? The end game is pedophilia. The end game is rape. The end game is completely dehumanizing any woman you've ever met in your life, to the point that you just see them as a kind of thing to bring you sexual pleasure, and that is not good for society. That really isn't good that's not good for men, that's not good for women, that's not good for anybody. And how much longer are we going to continue to pretend that this isn't a problem? Because like, a lot of people, when you talk to them about this, they go, oh, it's not that bad, at least I'm not out here raping women. And I'm like, can you not control get a prostitute, motherfucker? The oldest profession for a reason. You don't gotta be a gooner. There's nothing positive about it. You're alone in your room, cranking your hog to things on a screen. That is not good. Now, have I ever cranked my shit? Of course. I did it today, actually. And, I don't want to be a hypocrite or anything, but I think moderation, of course. Like I said, I haven't really picked a side whether I think it should be regulated or not. I would like to see it implemented in on a smaller scale to see if, first of all, if it's even doable, and then also to see if it actually does lead to, better outcomes long term. Before I make a decision personally, because there's just not enough data, in my opinion. But I'm leaning towards like, yeah, probably should be a little bit of regulation, at least a little tiny bit. I mean, we regulate things for less. I mean, we regulate plenty of things because they're bad for you. Cigarettes, alcohol. These things are not illegal, but they're regulated to a certain extent. You can't just, like, at any age, 13 years old, buy a bottle of Jack Daniels and chug that shit in the schoolyard. But if you're 13 years old, you can go on the hub and crank your fucking shit 4 times a day, and there's nothing stopping any young person from doing that. Yeah. Am I over 18? Yes. Come on. Okay. That's like if you went to buy a bottle of liquor and the person behind the counter was like, "Are you 18?" to a clearly not 18-year-old child, and he says, "Yeah," and then yeah, here's a bottle of fucking liquor. Go have fun. There's ways to do things. And I don't think that this should be a controversial opinion. like I was just saying, we regulate plenty of things that are bad for you. Pornography addiction is clearly bad for people. And I mean, I think there's a big case to be made about whether it should be regulated or not. Whether it can be enforced, whether it's going to work, whether it would even matter, I'm not sure yet. But I think there's a case to be made, and I don't think enough is being done to curb pornography addiction. I think it's getting worse and worse every year. I think you can't go on any social media website or anything without seeing basically softcore porn. I mean, even here on YouTube, fuck, we've all seen those fucking ridiculous ads of the girl, you know, doing the nasty, and they just cut off. It's literally porn on YouTube. On YouTube. But because it's an advertisement, A-okay with the fucking, with the people at YouTube. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay? You know, children use this website, and it's not supposed to be a porn website. I don't know. We're in an overly sexualized society, and there's so much more I want to say. I don't want this video to be too long, but there's so much more. I'm going to make a part 2 for sure. But I think a little bit of regulation might need to start being implemented at this point, because it's really getting out of hand. And, you know, the long-term consequences are starting to manifest, but we haven't even fucking come close to knowing what the actual long-term consequences are. I'm talking like another 10, 15 years, like forget it. Okay, it's just not, it's not good. It's not good, and more can be done about it, and more should be done about it. You know, we don't let people, well, I guess in some places they do let people do hard drugs, but most places don't let people do hard drugs because it's bad for you, and it's bad for society. And if something is bad for you and bad for society, you know, people think it should be regulated. So I don't know why pornography is always left out of the conversation when it comes to addictions, and when it comes to, you know, trying to make people's lives and society better. Same could be said about gambling. That's a whole other topic, and that's another thing that's just becoming super normalized. That wasn't the case 20 years ago. Man, I could keep going and going and going. I'm going to end it here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to make a part 2 about this topic, and just let me know what you think.